everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we are going to be doing a video showcasing my sprayer, one of my sprayers. This is my entry-level sprayer that I started with. It is the Earlex 5500 and I'm going to go over it. I had a piece that I started working on where I was brushing it, and for some reason nothing was different, but it just came out with like some brush strokes that I wasn't happy with. So I sanded it down and I'm going to go ahead and spray the rest of it. Now the majority of this piece is already done. I'm just spraying the sides. Everything else came out fabulous, so I don't know what happened. It could have just been me, my heavy hand or something like that. I don't know. Because I was using the same Klingon brush I always do, no primer this time, so there was nothing underneath to give it any brush strokes additionally. I cleaned it, I prepped it, and I painted it. Don't like the finish. I'm going to show you guys that in just a minute so you can take a peek. And then I just want to kind of go over, for those of you that might have questions about using a sprayer. So I was really hesitant in the beginning to start using a sprayer. I didn't think I was experienced enough. I didn't think that I had enough patience to work with one. And I was a little intimidated by the whole process. But I jumped in after talking to a few people and doing some research and bought an entry-level all-in-one, which is what I would recommend for those of you that are looking to get a first-time sprayer. I'll talk about some of the things that are good about the sprayer versus maybe a more inexpensive sprayer, and that's why it's a good idea to invest just a little bit more. This is something that is going to last you a long time if you take care of it. So right now I'm just getting everything ready. I'm going to go over this in detail so you guys can kind of know what the process is. It does not take long to set it up once you get used to it. So I always practice on pieces of cardboard as well before I hit my piece of furniture so I can adjust the spray the right way and I go to town. For those of you that have been maybe teetering whether or not to get a sprayer, this might help you decide that. So I do still brush pieces, but the sprayer does come in handy when I have certain pieces that I want to work with, certain pieces like today where I'm not happy with the finish. So, you know, it's just a preference, but I wanted to put this out there for you guys that might be wondering, because I do get questions often about what sprayer I use and is it difficult and all the good questions. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is my buddy, the Earlex 5500, as you can see. Got a little bit of overspray on it, but you know, hey, it's gonna happen. At first I was like, oh, I don't want it to get dirty, but yeah, that's just not gonna happen. You plug this baby in, it's got a hose that goes into here, and then the back of the hose goes in here. This little can sits in here because it will tip over because it is heavy, full of paint. So yeah, it's just a perfect little all-in-one system, and just wanted to show you what the exterior looked like, and I will tell you that it is worth the investment. Since I have started using it, it is able to speed up my process with some pieces. Now I do still brush a lot of pieces by hand. It just depends on what I'm working on. But the sprayers are great for certain things like hutches that have, you know, big, hard to reach areas up in the corners, the backer boards. Those are great for spraying. The save all for me, and the thing that I have put this to use with most, is spraying top coats. I use a water-based top coat, General Finishes High Performance Top Coat. I put in here, I don't put oil-based products through here. You can, but I'm just a little bit of a nut, and as far as cleaning purposes, I want to keep this as clean as possible. Water-based products are extremely easy to clean out of all of these intricate little parts. And so I don't use oil-based, but I do use a water-based top coat, and that has been a savior for me. It creates the most perfect, flawless top coat. I can do 3 or 4 coats, and voila, I am done, and it is beautiful. It comes out absolutely gorgeous, and it dries pretty quickly because it's spraying in a fine mist. So cleanup, as far as the cleanup is concerned, it is not that difficult. Obviously, it's more than washing a paintbrush, so yeah, you're going to spend a few more minutes. But literally, once you undo the spray tip, you undo that. You disconnect the gun from the top. You literally run water through here until it's clear. You can put down, you know, little pipe cleaners and clean in there if you need to. You clean the tip and you clean the gun. Basically, I run water through here, which comes out here. You run it through till it's clear. Again, you can use a pipe cleaner and you are done. It is not that hard. So, all right, enough talking. Let's go ahead and get the spray on this piece so we can see how it comes out. I just wanted to show you guys the components of the spray gun, the all-in-one. So basically what you get is the can, you get the spray gun. This is one of the tips. The needle is in the spray gun, and then this is a spray tip, which you can switch out. And I tell people all the time, this is a 2.0 millimeter nozzle. This works really great for painting. If you were to do top coating, you could go down to a 1.5 to 1.8. This also works. You can adjust your spray here, and it will adjust the fan of area that you're going to be spraying. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to. This is the top. Everything kind of goes on together. I'll show you guys when it's all put together. One thing that I can't give you an exact on is how much you have to thin your paint. That is something that you're going to have to kind of learn on your own. Now, they do typically give you viscosity cups to help measure the viscosity of the paint. I have learned over time to kind of eyeball it. I have also learned that by starting and going, yep, this is too thick, or oh, I overwatered it and now I need to add more paint. So it's a little bit of trial and error. I'm going to show you what my paint typically looks like. See how thin that is? I did thin this. It is a darker medium gray. I'm using General Finishes milk paint today. That is one of the best paints that sprays beautifully. So I did thin this out. You definitely want a pretty thin consistency. There is nothing sticking on that stick there. And you do want to use deionized water, not water from the tap. It is the best, in my opinion. I have read different things that say that is the best to add to your paint. So just have, you know, a gallon of it or whatever, a jug of it on hand. And like I said, a lot of times the paint manufacturers will tell you a certain percentage to go ahead and thin it. I always start on the more conservative side because you can always add more water. You definitely can add more paint too, but you may not want to. So that's what it looks like. It's pretty thin. What I do is I put my paint directly into the cup, and then I start adding my water little by little, stirring it up. And by now I've kind of figured out how to eyeball what it's supposed to look like, and I would say that 99% of the time I'm pretty spot on with the consistency. So this looks really horrible because I have sanded this, but I want to show you guys what I'm talking about. Right in here, you see that it looks, even though I've sanded this, but you see that it just looks like I've got brush strokes galore. This just doesn't normally happen to me. I don't know if it is the color paint or if it was me, my hand was too heavy, no clue. But I just wanted to showcase this. I'm going to show you once I spray over it. I have sanded this down with 320 grit sandpaper, so we're going to go ahead and now. Okay, so here you can see perfect because there's great lighting so you guys can see what's going on here, what it's looking like before. I've sanded it, I've wiped it down. It is ready for paint. Yes, I know I only have one glove on. I had something done today on my hand, so can't fit a glove on it right now, but this is my painting hand anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I spray. You'll see how it goes on firsthand, and then we'll show you after it's done and it's dry. Okay, so that is it. That is how quick and how easy. Now, obviously, I'm going to do a few coats. The thing is, how long does this have to dry in between spray coats? You can tell when it's dry. It dries a lot faster than the normal 2 hours. General Finishes is about 2 hour recoat time. This dries a lot faster because it's a lot finer. You're not putting on half as much paint as when you're loading up a paintbrush and putting it on. I usually recoat within 45 minutes to an hour. And so it goes pretty darn fast. And normally, because I already have like 2 coats of the paint that I brushed on, I have quite a bit for coverage purposes. All I'm trying to do now is just make sure I get a nice finish on this. So in this case, I'll probably do 2 coats and I'll be done. Normally, spraying does take about 3 to 4 coats to get a nice even coverage. You saw my motion. I basically go straight up and down all the way, covering, overlapping each time so that I don't have, when it dries, any funky spray pattern. So let's go ahead and I'll show you up close so you guys can see it wet, and then we'll show you dry after I do the second coat. All right, so that is wet. I can already tell that this is going to be a better finish than what I had on there before. So we will let this set up and I will show you guys when it's dried out. I'm also going to show you, because I have a matching nightstand, I'm going to show you how this goes on a cleaned, prepped piece that is just wood. So I'm going to show you that so that you guys can see that too. Also, I'm showing you my lovely cardboard collection because yes, I'm a huge Amazon orderer and they probably come more than I want to admit. And I always think to myself, oh my God, all these boxes, it's ridiculous. I break them down, I cut them up, and I use these. And I'm going to show you a trick, because when you do drawers, you can do two things. You can tape it off like I have here, which takes a lot of time for drawers, especially if you have like 12, or you can use cardboard pieces and block it off the certain sections to not get paint on them. So I'll show you how I do that too. So that is it for the first coat. You see how simple and how quick that is. I did go over it. I went over the entire section and back over it with another pass, and then I leave it alone. So it's just like brushing basically. You don't want to apply too much because you will get drips and runs, but I usually do make 2 passes. I've got it set, like I said, at a very medium spray pattern, so it's not just coming out like crazy. And I'd rather have that and have to do a few more coats than to have issues with runs. Let me show you. Perfect. So there you go. I'm gonna finish painting this. I'll show you guys the drawer in just a minute on my trick. That is 2 coats. Dry. At the bottom there in the center, you might see kind of a mark. That is a wet spot that still has to dry, so that's what that is. But the rest of it came out absolutely beautiful, and I am thoroughly enjoying the fact that this finish looks much better than my previous finish. So very happy with that. That is the Earlex 5500 2 coats. All right, you guys, that is it. We are at the end of the video. I hope that was helpful for you today to touch on the Earlex 5500 all-in-one spray system. As I mentioned earlier, I have 2 spray systems. I interchange them and use them frequently. They are both great. Today we featured this one because it was the one that was out and ready to go. And it was my first sprayer, so I like to talk about that because for those of you that are teetering on whether or not to buy a sprayer, I would go with more of an entry level that is at a good price point like this one. That way, you know, if you're not ready to spend the $500, $600, $700 and keeps going up for a sprayer, this is a really good compromise. There are sprayers on the market that are less, and I know people enjoy them, but this is my personal opinion. I am not sponsored by, and they don't pay for any of my products. I wish they did, but they don't. So this is an unbiased opinion of a consumer who is sharing her product with you, letting you know that I think it's great. So thank you so much for subscribing. Keep subscribing so you can get all of my videos. If you have any questions or positive comments, please leave them down below, as I will always get back to you. And I will catch you guys on the next video.